Hello, hello, and welcome back. Welcome back, wonderful technologists. Welcome back to the podcast. Hope you guys are having a great day. It is brutally cold here in the Midwest, and I am not a fan because I am a desert person. I grew up in the desert and I want to go back to the desert. Unfortunately, I can't because of the shared custody that I have with my ex husband. So, I'm kind of sort of stuck here until my kids are of age, which one of them should be probably in about 5 years. The other one, she still has a long way to go. So maybe in the future, we shall see. So good things are happening for the CT educators. So I just kind of want to give you a rundown as this is going to be one of the very last episodes for 2024. Because in the next podcast episode that you will listen to will be a 2024 year in review where I take the 10 most top listened to podcast episodes and I just give you clips of it. And we are going to end the year that way. So just super excited. So kind of give you a little bit of a rundown before we start this episode as far as what is coming for 2025. So if you caught the last podcast episode, the CT Educator is coming to YouTube, where I give you super helpful how-to videos. I break down protocols, I break down certain exams, and you will be able to see the video portions of the podcast live on the YouTube channel. So the exact date on when the YouTube channel is going to drop has not been set yet. All the tech still has to be set up. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I will drop the date on Instagram. Make sure you give me a follow on Instagram because I will drop the date as soon as I know. Okay. The tech part, I am not a tech person. So the tech part is a little bit challenging. So fortunately, I have some help on that. So I will be able to let you know when the YouTube channel will be live. I'm super, super excited about that. And it's been a long time coming, and it comes at the request of several technologists that have asked me to have a YouTube channel for more visuals. So you ask and you shall receive. So super excited about that. Also, I am still taking 10 spots for my 6-month coaching program for new CT technologists who have 0 to 2 years of experience. Come and get coached by me, guys. I don't gatekeep. I give you a lot of knowledge and I have a lot of expertise to share. Every technologist that I have trained and educated over 22 years have all passed the registry. So I give you a wealth of information, live workshops, live monthly classes as far as being the go-to CT tech. If you're interested, there is a link in the show notes. Come join the program. Come get coached. We're going to have a lot of fun. Okay. So that is the housekeeping of everything that is coming for 2025. Also, I'm going to do some more guest. Actually, I'm going to start doing guest episodes. Excuse me. So I am going to invite other people in our radiology community to come on the podcast. So if the catheter jockeys are listening to this, you guys are going to be the number one, okay? And I already have a few others that I am going to collaborate with and bring onto the show. So that's the most exciting part because that will be posted to YouTube and you guys will be able to see it live. So now let's get into today's episode where now that I've talked about my coaching program, if you're sick of hearing it, get ready to hear about it some more. So I am going to be talking about the power of coaching, why I feel it's essential for new CT technologists and just in radiology as a whole, right? Now, I know that training in CT or when you're training in another modality in radiology, every modality has its pros and cons when it comes to learning and being educated in the modality, especially if this is your first time in it. Because a lot of times techs don't even know what an x-ray is, how an x-ray is performed, or never seen an axial image. And they can't tell you what anatomy is in that axial image, right? So I think with the power of coaching and mentorship, this is the piece that I feel that we're missing when it comes to educating this generation of technologists. Now, I'm going to give you some pros and cons, and I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions the way I think that this should be done. Okay. And that's why I advocate so much for my coaching and mentorship program, because this is the part of the job that I love and I love to teach. So, a lot of the pros that you see is a lot of the times, depending on the facilities that you go to, you can get paired up with really good technologists, like CT technologists that have a lot of skin in the game, have a lot of experience, and know how to execute these exams correctly. They show you proper patient positioning, how to optimize your exams, how to give contrast properly, how to communicate with the patients properly. They give you the educational tools and tips to get the job done. And they also give you suggestions and corrective feedback on what not to do. Okay. So I think it's important that when you are paired up with somebody, especially when you're training, to make sure that you have a strong technologist that is willing to show you all those pieces. Now, myself, I'm a very strong technologist, and I pass that on to all of my students, and I pass it on to other technologists that are training, because that is a vital piece and it's important. Little backstory, I got told last what was it was earlier in the week, because we had two techs that are training. They're brand new. One is from X-ray and one is from the outside, coming in from another facility. And she was told, she goes, oh, well, I heard that when it comes to different things that people don't know, you are the go-to person to ask. And a few of the technologists working, with me that day said the same thing, that I am the go-to. Listen, guys, I just have a lot of knowledge and I don't gatekeep, and I am still learning as well, because everybody has an opportunity to learn. It doesn't matter if you've got 30 years in the business or 2. There's always an opportunity to learn. And I said, well, yeah, I get pulled everywhere to, they got a question, check an IV, start an IV. Is this the right exam? Should I do this? Should I do that? And that's the part of this profession that I love. Okay. Now, with the pros, there's always cons to everything, even in life, right? So the cons that I have seen, and I have seen this so many freaking times in my career, is there are lots of technologists out there that did not receive the proper training, did not receive the proper tools and education, and just the mentorship that they needed to perform the job correctly when they started as a brand new technologist. So what happens in this case? They pass on all the bad habits. They pick up bad habits because the techs that they're training under have bad habits, which these bad habits can cause patient harm or even death to the patients. And I know most of you listening have probably seen that or heard about it. I know I've seen it quite a few times in my career. So a lot of the times, some of these techs have little to no desire to educate the oncoming new CT technologists that are coming into, the modality, and I hear this common saying, which I fucking hate this saying, and I hate it with the passion, is that's how we've always done it. When they know better and they know there's a better way to execute the job correctly. That statement just grinds my gears, and I can't tell you how many times over the years I've heard it, and I'm so sick of it. Okay? No, that's not how we have always done it. There is a better way to do it. Okay? So a lot of times you get technologists that do not want to train. They don't want to educate anybody. They fear that, oh, well, if this new person is learning, that they're coming to steal my job, which is not even the case at all. Okay. Especially, we have to treat the oncoming generation of technologists that are coming in now with respect. Show them the proper way how to do things. Show them the education and what is possible to do in this modality. Okay. Because this field is awesome and there's a lot to learn and a lot to appreciate, right? So I think what happens is the way these CT programs are designed that are having new technologists join these programs, a lot of the times because the facility requires it, or their facility doesn't offer cross training, or there's not enough technologists to educate them, or it's just poor education from the staff that's there. So how these programs are set up, it leaves a lot of guesswork to that student, that technologist that is a student, when they're in the clinical site to try to figure it out. Now, I've seen how some of the CT programs design their curriculum, okay? Because I've taken a look at several in the state that I currently live in. What I've seen is they focus a lot of heavy work and a lot of didactic work on physics. Listen, you guys got to throw that shit out, okay? As a brand new technologist, if you're throwing a bunch of physics at me and then saying, okay, you have to sign off on 125 exams to get your clinical competencies so you can get a registry. And then, because you're registered, they automatically think, okay, well, you can sit down and scan. It's not the fucking case, okay? And that's what I see a lot of how they structure their programs is, let's go heavy on the physics and this technical. And then when they get to the clinical side, they'll learn all the other stuff. However, you get grumpy ass Joe, who's been a CT technologist for 45 years, that doesn't care about training that new technologists at all, because Joe is upset because he didn't get a raise. So we're doing the younger folks a disservice, okay? We really are. So I think where it is in the clinical site, you're giving them a sign-off sheet and saying, okay, they did this exam, they did this exam, they did this exam. But these technologists are not knowing the why or the reason behind it, or, why is it that we give this amount of contrast? So where these programs are failing, and this is my hot take, and some of you may not agree, and that's fine. Where they're failing is when they're at that clinical site, they should have a guide or a checklist. Plus, I've created a free checklist that you can get in the show notes on the things that you should be working on when you are a brand new technologist and you're training. So make sure you grab that checklist. You need to have the basic concepts of CT, an overview of the department, where you're going to find contrast, where you're going to find sheets, how to ISO center, how to do this. Fuck the physics. The physics can come later. Okay. The physics only pertains when you take that exam. That's when it's relevant. Okay. Other than that, it may be relevant as far as, your technique, but you need to be more advanced when you get there. Okay. So you need to know how to work in the department, how to scan, how to set up your patients in ISO center correctly. And this is the piece that most of these programs are fucking missing. And that's why I've created the guide that I have to get you to that, core concept of what you need to know. Okay. Also, what's missing is the coaching and mentorship, because we have to mentor the technologists that are coming in. Okay. We have to take them under our wing and show them the proper way on how to care for patients, on how to execute these exams, on how to get an optimal exam that the radiologist says, hey, I got a diagnosis here. This is what's wrong with them. Okay. This is the missing piece when we're training techs in CT. And the reason why it's lacking is because a lot of techs lack confidence and they're overwhelmed. CT is a very complex modality. Of course, you're going to get overwhelmed. Okay. There's so much fucking shit to know. You're going to be overwhelmed. And then if you don't execute and perform properly, there's a lack of confidence. So that's why I stress heavily on the coaching and mentorship. And that's why I designed a 6-month program, because I believe in my core that 6 months is enough for a brand new technologist to become an expert. Okay. You're not going to know everything offhand, but you will have the tools and the guidance and the knowledge to say, okay, now I can continue to advance. Now I could sit at XYZ hospital and I can sit and scan on day one. And that's why I designed this program, to get you from the beginning all the way to an expert so that you can walk into any hospital that you want, take any travel assignment, and scan on day one. Okay? So I want you to be successful, and I hope some of these tools that I've described in this podcast episode hits home for you, okay? Including my hot takes, because I have no shame, and that is my hot take when it comes to CT programs. That's why I've trained lots of technologists, and they've all passed their exams, and they're very successful to this day, okay? So I hope this episode was super, super informational, super helpful, educational for you. Share it with somebody who needs to hear this information. Make sure you subscribe so you can get the latest podcast episodes. Okay. Give me a follow on Instagram and stay tuned for the live drop date for the CT Educator YouTube channel when that will go live. Okay. So, as always, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me on the podcast and listening to the podcast. It means the world to me. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave me a review. It so helps so I can create more content for you guys. So thank you so much for listening, and I will chat with you guys in the next episode.